Hey, what's up, everybody? It is the Dynasty Owner Podcast, and we are coming to you. It is Memorial Day weekend. It's myself, Steve Van Tassel, and I've got my friend here, Jay Pounds, with me. What's going on, Jay?
Hey Steve, how's it going today? I'm enjoying this Memorial Day weekend. How about you?
So far, so good. It's really nice weather. So I don't know what we're doing sitting inside talking about fantasy football, but we are. We probably should be doing this. I should be sitting outside and doing this, but I'm not. So we're going to get to this. We're going to talk about some Dynasty Owner. Then Jay and I are going to go out and enjoy. Jay's going to a barbecue. I think we're going to have some hamburgers and hot dogs here at the house. Maybe a couple of adult beverages, and then we'll have a good rest of the weekend. So, but we're here to talk Dynasty Owner. And so if you're stumbling upon us and you don't know what Dynasty Owner is, we are Dynasty Fantasy Football, but with a couple of twists that most leagues don't have. One is that we have a salary cap, which is $145.74 million, which is 70% of the NFL salary cap. And why we use 70% of the NFL salary cap is because we use real NFL salaries. So, if you want Patrick Mahomes on your Dynasty Owner team, that's great, but you got to pay him $45 million. So you have a decision, between him and maybe taking Tom Brady, who's only $15 million. So these are kind of the decisions that real NFL GMs make. And so we have to make those same decisions. You just can't keep a team of guys forever and ever until, while they all make a lot of money. You have to make real NFL GM decisions, right, Jay?
Yep, yeah, you gotta pick and choose who you wanna keep because eventually you're gonna have to try to pay Devonta Adams, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelsey all at the same time, and it's not that fun. You got to have a nice influx of rookies on your roster to really remain competitive for many years.
Yeah, I mean, just like the Chiefs had a Tyreek Hill's gone now, they couldn't keep Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey all at salaries. Here in Dynasty Owner, you can keep them all, but you probably have to have a lot of roster filler at the end of the day, and a lot of cheap rookies. So it's a lot of fun. We enjoy it. It's more. I think it's more challenging than regular Dynasty. I mean, I did a regular Dynasty draft the other night. I mean, and I got the salaries on my head at certain points, and I'm like thinking to myself, do I really want that guy? And then I'd have to talk. I would be like, wait, I don't care I don't care what he makes. I just want to know if he's going to do well.
Yeah.
So it kind of messes me. It kind of messed me up a little bit in that draft. So I think I did okay. Actually, we got to talk about. I got to tell you about one of the moves I made in that league and get your opinion on it. So
Okay.
from a non-dynasty opinion, but we'll kind of do that later. But yeah, because as I said, I had this non-dynasty in the league rookie draft, and we were supposed to start our rookie drafts on Friday, and there was a problem. Just things happen. I'm not a computer programmer. I don't know anything about this stuff. All I know is that they tested, they practiced, they tested, they thought they had everything worked out, and then when it went live, there were problems. And so they're at a state where I think hopefully by the time a lot of people listen to this, we'll have some rolling rookie drafts starting. So but right now, no rookie drafts have started, as Jay and I are talking about this. And so hopefully they start soon, and hopefully they're going and everybody's happy, and we can talk about who we're going to pick and all that, but it's just a little delayed. So like Jay and I were talking earlier, and Jay made the good point. I mean, it's late May. It's not. While it'd be nice to have those rookies on your team right now and everything, it's not imperative. There's no NFL games being played for like what, 3.5 months, 3+ months. You got time, kids. So
Yeah,
let's
and
be patient, and hopefully things will work out. So, but
and
so yeah.
the last
Go
thing
ahead.
we want to do is roll them out and have more issues. That's the absolute last thing we want to do. We know you guys are excited for it, but just bear with us and we'll get you going here soon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the worst thing in the world, I think, would be to like do a bunch of stuff and then have it fall apart. So they're going to do it. They're going to do it. The good part is the way Tim does things. Tim and Paul do things is they do it right, and they don't do things unless it's beneficial to the dynasty owners. They don't do things just to do it and everything. They'd rather wait and do it right than do it and have it not be right. So, which I appreciate. So, and sometimes it takes a little longer to do it that way. So,
Yeah,
Jay
yeah.
does customer service, and you've probably heard a lot of not so happy people the last couple of days.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't very happy, and I completely understand. Everybody was excited for it, but technology's crazy. Things happen. We promise you it was tested many times, and it just happened. And just deal with it. Deal with it. Bear with us, and we promise we'll get you going, and we'll make things right soon.
Yes, everybody should be as chill as Jay.
I try.
Probably a good thing in life in general too. But
Yeah.
anyways, I know what the problem is.
Yeah, it helps out with toddlers.
What?
So it helps out a lot with toddlers.
Yes. I know. I probably was. I wonder if I was as tolerant back then or patient. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't have toddlers anymore.
Yeah, that could be.
That could be. So, all right. Well, anyways, that's an entirely different podcast. So Jay and I are going to start a new podcast where we discuss parenting as a father. So yeah,
family dynamics.
Family Dynamics 101 with Steve and Jay coming soon to your Apple podcast.
I like it.
All right. So anyway, so that's what's up with the rookie drafts. But so what we're going to talk about today is Jay pulled together a bunch of trades. Like these are actual trades that have happened, right? They're not just offers.
Yep, there are trades that have been they've already gone through. They can't be vetoed or anything like that. So they've all happened within the last week and a half.
Okay, cool. So they're recent. So we're gonna go through them, maybe pick a winner or at least pick who we'd rather be, and see what's going on. And then after that, I have a couple of offers out in my beta league that I'll get I want Jay's opinion on. And in a non-dynasty owner trade, do you want to do that first? I could talk about my non-dynasty owner league trade that I made that I actually like a lot. And I don't know if it's just me or I think I made a good deal. I think I really made a really good deal. You want to hear this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Non-dynasty owner. So I have a team. It's like 30-man rosters. We play 8. We just added another flex. I mean, like the Seahawks are huge. It's one quarterback, and I got a bunch, and I got a good team, but they're getting a little older and had a lot of injuries last year. Like all my running backs were hurt at one point last year. So it's just I barely squeaked in the playoffs and then lost. But tight end's my other problem, and my best tight end is Noah Fant, and my second best tight end is Jonnu Smith. I mean, I've had other guys at other points, but I really feel like I need to tighten that up. And I had a bunch of draft picks. I made a bunch of trades, and so I had like 6 draft picks. So I was like, I don't need 6 draft picks. I need a tight end. And there's no tight ends in the draft. Nobody to take and throw in there. So I got to a certain point, and somebody offered me wanted my first round pick, the 1-9 for Dallas Goedert. And I was like, I don't want that. That's too much. So I worked it into, and I gave him the 2-8 or was it the 2-5? The 2-5 and the 3-8 for Dallas Goedert.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was a pretty darn good deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Dallas Goedert's going to be a top 10 tight end pretty much guaranteed next year as long as he stays healthy.
Exactly. I mean, the other guy had strength at the tight end. I forget who else he had, but he didn't need Goedert. Goedert is at best was going to play his flex position. So I understand that. But then this is what he turned it into. And this is where I think I got an incredible deal. He turned it into Tyler Algier from the Falcons and Tyler Batty from the running back from the Ravens. There's no guarantee either one of those guys is going to ever do anything for his team.
Yeah.
Ever. And I get Dallas Goedert.
I mean, I like Algier for the Falcons, but that's as a dart throw, that's not as a Dallas Goedert. Yeah, you got a proven talent there for 2 dart throws.
Yes, thank you. That's what I think. But I was kind of surprised. I was kind of surprised. I made the trade before he took those guys in the picks, but nobody was slipping to the 2-5 who you were like desperate to get.
Yeah.
At that point, and so I thought it was a great deal. So we'll see. It tightens up a position that I really needed help with. And then I still had enough picks to take I need some running backs in that league. So I took a couple of running backs and, to kind of give me more depth at that position. But so I'm happy. We'll see what happens. But that's non-dynasty owner. If it was dynasty owner, Dallas Goedert's a lot of money. I'm not sure I would have made that deal for him at that point. I think I would have just run out Fant and John. Well, actually, probably would drop Jonnu Smith in that, but in a non-dynasty owner league, I'm fine with having John Smith there. He might just could have had a bad year.
Yeah. It's not hurting you $12 million a year financially,
Precisely. Yes. There's a different dynamic there. Like you can keep John Smith for a while and pray one day him and Belichick hit it off and they start using him like everybody thought they would. But in dynasty owner, you're like, he's like $12 million. You're like, I can't keep that. I can't keep that and pray that one day he starts to play well. So, all right. So that's not dynasty owner, but I like that trade. I'm very proud of that trade, actually. So
I like it a lot.
I wanted somebody to acknowledge that I made a good trade there because I don't know. I got nothing from the rest of the people in that league on that one. I don't know. Maybe because I threw out that I was willing to. I wanted to trade up, and nobody would trade up with me. I wanted Kenneth Walker basically but I couldn't do that. But anyways, all right. So trades. So do you want to read the trade? Do you want me to read the trade? How do you want to do this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll read the trade and then we can react to it. So trade 1, it looks like it says Clara Strong. Is that the team?
Yep.
Okay. All right, Clara. Welcome to Dynasty owner Clara. I don't know Clara. Receives Lamar Jackson, Dalvin Cook, and a 2024 second-round pick. And Good Times receives Russ Wilson, Josh Jacobs, and a 2023 first.
Yeah, I haven't looked over these trades other than just writing them down. I kind of wanted to give a more natural reaction to them than a thought out process, something that I sat and thought about.
Despite the fact that Clara Strong is going to pay a lot more. Well, this year it's about an even trade in terms of salaries. But next year, Lamar Jackson's going to be like 40 million-ish or so, 45 million-ish. But I don't know. I would rather be Clara Strong in this situation. I know the 2023 first could be really good, but, I don't know whether Clara Strong thinks they can win a title and, then that's the 112 pick. So I think in a vacuum, not knowing that, I think I'd rather be Clara Strong getting Lamar Jackson and Dalvin Cook personally.
Yeah, I gotta agree there. It's just too talented of a duo for me to believe that 2023 first is going to be worth anything significant. It's definitely going to be towards the back half. If you're trading for Dalvin Cook and Lamar Jackson, you probably have a solid roster already. So yeah, I'm going with that side as well on this one.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but Russell Wilson worried me kind of at the end of the last year or so. I mean, I know he had, he got hurt and then he had a couple good games. He had a couple bad games. I'm not sure. I know everybody thinks that he's going to go to Denver and light it up. I'm not 100% convinced of that. I'm not saying I wouldn't bet against it, but I don't think it's as a foregone conclusion as like when you hear about it, everybody seems to think they're like, look at all these weapons he has and all this and all that. And they make it out like, they make it out that they're like the 2007 Patriots with like Tom Brady throwing to Randy Moss. I mean, and, or like the 49ers back in the day, it's like Joe in his prime, Joe Montana throwing to Jerry Rice and John Taylor. It's like, and Roger Craig running wild and, taking dump offs. It's like, maybe, but I'm not 100% convinced. So
yeah, I'm high on both Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, but by no means are they anywhere near like lock Hall of Famers or anything like that. There's definitely question marks. I like it for Russ better than sitting in Seattle or staying in Seattle. But yeah, like you said, it's not something I'm going to bet on or against.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's not, as far as he's not a guaranteed like top 5 quarterback now. All of a sudden, he might be a little bit better than last year, but yeah, okay. And Josh Jacobs, that situation, they declined his 5th-year option, and that's a little weird. But I mean, he could be. I mean, Good Times could get a bargain too. He could sign next year like a 1-year deal for $3 million or something and run wild, and then Good Times is happy as can be with that. But yeah, I think I'd rather be Clara Strong there and trade.
I could see him too, like with Jacobs getting that 5th year declined. It's got to be more like they don't want to pay him the $7 million Saquon Barkley's making this year. And, I think maybe they think they can get him at 3 years, $5 million a year versus that $7 million. So maybe I'm hoping that's what it is, because it seems like they like him. But again, that 5th year getting declined does worry me a lot.
Yeah, and especially because it's new coaches.
Yeah,
I'm not sure who else is taking over there, but it just might mean they don't think he's the future, and they'll figure it out next year. So, yeah. All right. Well, okay. Trade 2. So this is one of the people in my beta league, and the man who owns about 38 Dynasty owner teams, David Brady, his team, the Wannabes, they get DJ Moore and a 2022 second round pick, and the Beaumont Riders get Drew Lock, Ezekiel Elliott, and Jamal Williams. So whose side you got on that one?
Oh man, it's got to be Wannabes here, just because of the DJ Moore is going to last longer than Zeke does. I don't like his contract that he got, but eventually the Panthers are going to find a better quarterback than they have now, and then you get the 2022 second on it. I think that's actually supposed to be a 2023 second, by the way.
Oh, okay.
That's why I messed up there. Yeah, or I'd put what pick it was.
That's fine.
But either way, you're getting a young player with DJ Moore, and you're getting rid of Zeke's contract, so I don't mind it. I think Beaumont Riders is banking on Drew Lock being the starter next year in Seattle.
Yeah, you got to think they are. But they're counting on. I would assume they're counting on him to be their bench quarterback, or maybe their third quarterback. Yeah, I agree. When I was looking through it, I checkmarked DJ Moore on this one. And I agree. I got the same reasoning. I mean, he's making $15 million a year. I think that contract is an albatross. Is DJ Moore's contract too expensive this year? Yes. Is it going to be too expensive in like 2 or 3 years? Maybe. And that's the difference. I think Zeke's contract is too expensive for the rest of time until that contract expires. It's too expensive. Yeah. At least DJ Moore might be worth the money one of these years.
Yeah, and if he starts putting up top 10 wide receiver, even top 15 wide receiver numbers, it's worth paying him as long as depending on the rest of your roster, obviously. But he's worth it at some point if he finds a quarterback to play with.
Yeah, I think DJ Moore has the possibility to stay the same or go up or down a little bit. Yeah. But Zeke, he could fall off a cliff this year, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I would not be wanting that. So personally, I will have in Dynasty owner. I would have no shares of Zeke Elliott, and probably maybe in a redraft league. But there's guys I tend to avoid, and he's one of them right now.
Yeah, and it really pains me because he carried Ohio State to a national championship. So I got a lot of love for Zeke Elliott, but he's just not Zeke Elliott anymore.
Yeah, agreed. So congrats for the David Brady, if you're listening, congratulations. I don't know which of the 38 leagues you have this is in, but you did a good job in this one. So he probably doesn't know which of the 38 leagues he made this trade in either. Right. Honestly, it's impossible to keep track of.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
I don't know. I don't know either. Lots of spreadsheets, and I mean, lots of. I got 4, and I can hardly keep track. I don't know. All right. Trade 3. The Adams family. They get the 2022. It says it's the first round, the first pick.
Yep.
Okay, so the overall number 1 pick, and then they get the second round, the overall number pick. So that's the 14th pick. So they get 2 picks, and Bomber gets DK Metcalf, a 2022 1/6, so the 6th pick, a 2022 second round 2/9, so that's the 22nd pick, a 2023 first, and a 2023 second. All right, which side do you like on that one, Jay?
Oh, I gotta go with Bomber here. Just looking at who I know you're looking at with the 1/1. I don't think any of them supersede DK Metcalf in the 1/6, and then you're adding a 2023 first and second on top of it. I really like that side. I love that deal. I don't even need to see what the roster looks like. I like it no matter what.
I agree. I actually like that deal. Even if they use DK Metcalf this year, and then whatever contract he gets, if they got rid of him next year, I still would pick Bomber's side.
Yeah.
Even if DK Metcalf is a 1-year rental, and then they don't like the contract, and because you're right. I mean, I don't know the way things are this year. The 1/6 and the 1/1, depending on your preference, could be the same guy. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to assume Bomber didn't need like a running back, you know, like a top tier running back, because you got to assume that the 1-1, the person with the 1-1, the Adams family is going to take Brees Hall, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to kind of assume, or at least they know who they want, and they want to take that person, so they're not willing to wait till them to drop to the 6. So they figure they're never going to drop to the 6. Like Brees Hall's not dropping to the 6.
Right. Right.
You know, if you wanted like, you know, Garrett Wilson, he could, depending on your league, but probably not. But you don't need to go to the 1-1 to get him, though. So,
No, not at all.
yeah.
And it's, to me, them 2 through 6 are basically, like you said, they're the same player. I mean, you're probably going to get one of the wide receivers there, and there's 5 great ones. So no matter what, as long as Brees Hall goes at the 1-1, you're going to get one of the guys you like.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And I think you're right. The 2023 first and second kind of seems like a lot. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Adams family is going to be the 12. Those will be the 12 picks, but we'll see. Interesting. Okay. Trade 4. We've got the Hell Hogs with a Z. I don't want them to be upset at me. If they listen, I want them to know it's them. The Hell Hogs with a Z. They get Darius Slayton and a 2022, the 112 pick. So they traded with Baldus Bradshaw, who got Gabe Davis.
Yeah, this was a small trade. I had to throw it in there because all the Gabe Davis hype this offseason.
Well, first of all, congrats to Baldus Bradshaw. I'm assuming since they have the 112 pick, they won their league. So
Yep.
Congrats, if I'm assuming correctly, unless you traded with the person who won their league. And so, but I'm going to go with Hell Hogs. And I don't really like Darius Slayton a ton. He's very cheap. But I got to think at the 2022 112, you're probably going to get probably a more guaranteed better player than Gabe Davis, personally. And I like Gabe Davis, and his salary is very cheap for Dynasty owner purposes. It's like under $1 million, but I don't know.
Yeah, for me, this one's pretty much a toss up. I have faith in Gabe Davis. I liked Gabe Davis going into last year, but he's tied to Josh Allen. You know, that helps him out a ton. But again, you're at the 112, you're going to get a solid rookie, you know, and you're going to control him for the next 4 years on a cheap salary. So it's, for me, if Gabe Davis hits, you know, obviously that's what Baldus Bradshaw's hoping for. But for right now, it's a toss up. It really just depends on what you're looking for out of the trade, really.
Yeah, you know, honestly, if Baldus Bradshaw doesn't have the room, the salary cap, or the roster room for that pick, then this is a good trade for them, because effectively they're getting Gabe Davis, who could really contribute to their team, you know. But I guess I'd rather be the Hell Hogs in this point. But all right. But that's not a bad trade. All right. So speaking of Gabe Davis, we have another Gabe Davis. You picked out another Gabe Davis trade.
I liked this trade a lot. It was pretty interesting.
Okay. All right. So this one is the Space Cowboys. They get Gabe Davis, the 2022 1-4, and then they also get the 2022 the 1-2. So they get the second and the 4th round pick this year.
Yep.
Okay. And Judy Licious gets Joe Mixon and Deontay Johnson.
Interesting trade, ain't it? I'm going. Obviously, Judy Licious is going for a championship this year. There's no other reason they make that trade. So in that sense, it makes sense to me. You're getting a proven running back and a proven receiver that are going to produce for you this year. But I'm going with Space Cowboys. You're getting the 1-4 and the 1-2. You're getting some high level talent there, and as long as one of them turns out to be a solid star, you know, it'll pay off for you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I check mark that, but I do like Joe Mixon. He's, you know, there's a bunch of guys who make about $12 million a year. You know, you got, not everybody but there's Nick Chubb, there's Mixon, there's Dalvin Cook, there's Aaron Jones. You know, I mean, out of all those guys, I feel like Joe Mixon is the safest of all those picks, because, you know, Nick Chubb, he might lose carries to Kareem Hunt. Dearness Johnson might do something and everything like that. Dalvin Cook, I don't think he's going to lose carries, but he's just a little bit higher. And, but I just feel like Mixon's, nobody's supplanting him there.
No, not at all.
I mean, it's a great offense.
The offensive line got a lot better as well, so that should help out a ton.
Exactly. I kind of, I'd rather have the picks than Gabe Davis, but that's a lot. That was a lot to give up.
Yeah.
So, maybe the Space Cowboys have no chance this year and just want to rebuild. We haven't looked at these rosters very closely or anything like that. And we'd have to talk to the Space Cowboys owner to find out what the deal is here. But yeah, unless he's just totally rebuilding, giving up Joe Mixon's a tough give up, but we'll see. But then again, at the 1-2, he could get Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
Who could be Joe Mixon for almost $10 million less.
And another part I really like about it for him is the Deontay Johnson's getting his new contract next year. Oh no!
All right, we talked about toddlers earlier, so. Oh man,
we got a new screen door that we've been leaving open, and she's so mad that I shut it to do that.
Oh.
All right, go out there and stay out there, please. Hang on, let me just go shut this.
Go ahead. As long as she doesn't run through it, right?
Right. You're fine. All right, I'm good.
No problem. I'll tell Chris to kind of get rid of that little part.
Okay.
Maybe we'll keep the toddler screaming in just for fun, but so that'll be the theme music for our parenting podcast.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, so
kids.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so what do you think? Well, we'll get back to what do you think Deontay Johnson's getting for a new contract? Do you think he's getting a new contract with the Steelers, and how much do you think he's getting?
I did think they were going to pay him, and now that they've drafted George Pickens, I'm kind of starting to feel otherwise. I seen he asked for 20 to 22 million, which it's fair for him, with the numbers he puts up and things. I don't know. I guess it depends on how him and Kenny Pickett gel together this year. If he turns out to be kind of a safety valve for Kenny Pickett, then yeah, I could see him re-signing him just to help him grow. But if they don't exactly gel together this year, he's definitely gone. They're already hesitant about it, so I think he's almost has to gel with Kenny Pickett and kind of be his safety blanket for him to return.
Yeah, so this is Johnson. This is his last year on that just barely over $1 million contract. But what do they do if they don't re-sign him? What do they do? Do they keep Claypool then and have Claypool and Pickens, or do they just go find another receiver?
I almost kind of think that's what it is. They just trust their development and receivers enough that they don't have to keep them. I hope they do. I like Deontay Johnson. He's had a couple issues with drops, but you can fix that as you go, and he still produces very well. So I like him. I hope they keep him, but just the fact that they haven't done it yet really worries me. And it's kind of not how Pittsburgh does things with their young players.
Yeah. And if you haven't listened to us before, Jay's a big Steelers fan. So this is why I asked him that question, because he knows a heck of a lot more about that than I do. So, but this is kind of like, this is a kind of almost a dynasty owner situation too, because, if they sign Deontay Johnson, they don't sign Deontay Johnson, they go somewhere else, then you've got to decide as a dynasty owner, do I want Deontay Johnson at $24 million for, the Titans,
right?
Or do I want, or do I get rid of him because he's too much? I had him at $1 million, he was great, and now at 24, I don't really want to touch him anymore. So, it becomes a decision point at that point. It's like, you might like the production, but for 24 million, I could find a lot better.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I'd be shocked. I think personally, I think they should keep, from not knowing the Steelers as well as you do, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't locked it.
I am too.
If they haven't locked him up, that they're not like discussing locking him up. You know what I mean? That they're not like involved in conversations and like trading numbers and figuring this out. I mean, to just be like, we'll wait and see how you mesh with Kenny Pickett, it kind of like surprises me. But
And that it hasn't came out and that they've said that. That's just kind of my opinion on it, because I haven't seen anything on a new contract outside of Deontay Johnson wants 22 million a year. That's the only thing I've seen on it in the recent past couple months. But then again, I've been working a ton and haven't had the time to really look at it. But again, that's all I've heard, so it just kind of worries me.
yeah, well, they also they have a new GM now, right? Didn't they just sign, or is that yeah? So do you think it might just be the fact that the old regime, they were being like, okay, we'll let the new GM decide this. It's his call. You know, I mean,
that's kind of a good point. I didn't really look at it that way. I guess they let them run up through the draft and make the draft pick. So I don't know. You know, it's weird how they're doing it. I've never seen anything like that, to where, hey, you can make all our draft picks and then retire. You know, I mean, I guess he's been scouting these players for a long time. So, and he's had a great relationship with Pittsburgh, and they really trust him. It's not like he's retiring or resigning or getting fired or anything. So,
yeah, exactly. You know, they didn't let him take the draft picks and then fire him.
Yeah. So it was just a little odd how they did that. I figured the new GM coming in would want to make those picks, but it's just not how Pittsburgh does things, I guess.
No, hey,
and I trust them.
I was just gonna say it's not like we're discussing the Jaguars and their decision making. I mean, you like you said, you give the Steelers a little bit of rope on these things because they have a track record of making good decisions. Not to say that it's going to be a good decision, but at least they have a better track record than like if you decide to let the Jaguars make this decision.
Yeah, and that's when they took Kenny Pickett. I hated it. I still don't necessarily like it, but Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert, which is the GM that's retiring, they came out and said he was head and shoulders above everybody else on their draft board and by far the best quarterback in the class. So I have to trust it just because of how well how well of a run franchise it is. But we'll see.
Yeah. So they get more rope than I give Bill Belichick for drafting wide receivers, because he doesn't get it. The Patriots in NFL history, they may be the worst team ever to draft wide receivers.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
You know, I mean, Julian Edelman was a stab in a 7th round. That doesn't count. But I'm talking like when you have first round picks, almost all of them have been terrible. Like their high picks are always terrible. So, I mean, N'Keal Harry is the rule, not the exception.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, the Deontay Johnson interlude is over. Trade 6 here. We've got the Wannabes, again, another Wannabes team. So I'm assuming it's a different league. Dave may or may not know that since he's got a bunch of teams. But he gets Jameis Winston and a 2023 second round pick. And the Immortal Mortals get Derek Carr.
I'm going to give Dave Brady a little golf clap on this one. That's some veteran presence coming out right there, getting rid of Derek Carr right after he signs a massive extension. You get Jameis Winston, 2 years of a reasonable salary plus a second round pick. Yeah, I like it a lot there. Just Derek Carr, he's a great quarterback. I don't want this to seem like a knock on him, but I don't think he's a $40 million quarterback.
True, but I checked Derek Carr on this, and I'll give my reasons for this. I think this. I'm not a big Jameis Winston fan.
See, I am. That's probably where we differ.
I mean, I just don't. I don't. I'm not. Let's put if he was available at a certain point, I'd take him, but I would feel icky about it, and I wouldn't turn down deals for him and everything like that. It reminds me of when I took Sam Darnold in a Dynasty owner startup a couple of years ago. I didn't want to do it, but I needed a backup to Patrick Mahomes, and I needed a kind of a backup on the cheap. And so I took Darnold, and I regretted it like 3 seconds after I made the pick. I probably hit the button and then said that was dumb. And all like half the season, I couldn't stomach it. Darnold was terrible, and at some point I just cut him. I just took the loss and just let him go. And I just didn't like him. I'm not saying Jameis Winston, I don't like him as much as I don't like Sam Darnold, but I don't know. I guess my take on this one is I think Derek Carr will have a better year this year, and then maybe you get rid of him next year when the contract goes up if you don't like the contract or you don't need it or anything like that. But I'm probably wrong on this one, and it might just be my Winston bias because he went to Florida State and I went to Miami, but I checked the Derek Carr spot on this one. So
for me with Winston, I just think with Sean Payton leaving, he's going to get more of a chance to open up the offense a little bit. It seemed like he was kind of held back when he was starting. They wouldn't let him just kind of sling it like he wants to, and I kind of see that happening a little bit more this year. So I think he's going to put up at least decent numbers, and you're getting them pretty cheap. And I don't know, I just don't like Derek Carr at $40 million. That's kind of my main thing here. Is
I'm not a big Derek Carr at $40 million fan. Yeah. I guess I looked at it as like
you're
1 year of Derek Carr at $25 million, and then you can kind of decide
that makes
whether
sense,
he's worth the $40 million. Because he could. I don't see him shooting up as like a top 5 quarterback. Like last year, like for example, I don't see him as Matthew Stafford. Like I loved when Matthew Stafford got traded to the Rams. I was like, give me some Matthew Stafford in any type of league because he's going to be good. The Rams are going to be good. Like Sean McVay wants him, and like I wanted Matthew Stafford in everything. Like I'm not thinking to myself, oh, Derek Carr, he's got Josh McDaniels, he's got Devontae Adams. I'm not like thinking I want him in everything. I'm thinking, I mean, I picked him up in a league when he was available because I dropped Deshaun Watson because I had kept Deshaun Watson in Dynasty owner. And then when he went from 39 to 46 million, I said, that extra $7 million, I just can't deal with. And so I had regret for keeping him for the season last season. And I'm like, I got to kind of get out of jail free card on this one. And I'm going to take it, and the best replacement available was Derek Carr. And I was like, I'll take Derek Carr. I mean, I saved 21 million and got an adequate starter. I mean, if things work out in that league, I'll have Mac Jones as my starter eventually, but so we'll see. So anyway, speaking of that league, we'll kind of we'll use that as the transition to the next thing, which is I made a couple of trade offers in my beta league, and we'll see if the guys I made the offers with listen to this and think about it. But let me give you these offers because I'm looking at basically I got the one in this league. It's my beta league. I got the 1-3 pick, and I got the 1-9 too. I made a trade with our head commissioner, Nick Larimore, Quarantine. Last year, I traded him DK Metcalf, and he gave me all of his draft picks for this year. And that was unsolicited, and I didn't want to give up DK Metcalf. But I looked at it and I said, "How am I going to turn all these? How am I going to turn all this down?" Yeah. I mean, like, I questioned it, and then I said, "I can't. I love DK Metcalf. I want to keep him, but like, I have to take this deal." So I took it. Also, it didn't help. I didn't have a lot of picks because I got rid of the other ones, so it helped refresh my draft for this year. So, but I made 2 separate offers, and I haven't heard back. But to one team, to the Yorkshire Roses, I said to him, I have 2 things that I'm interested in from his team. Basically, I said the number 1-2 pick because he has the pick right in front of me. I have the 1-3, and he has the 1-2, and he has I don't have my tight ends in this league are Gronk and Donald Parham, and that's it. And like when I got rid of Mo Alley Cox because that contract was just 3 years, 17 million. That was way too terrible much for him. Yeah, way too much for him. And I was like, well, I'll still have Gronk. Regardless of what Gronk gets, I'm going to pay him for that, for the 1 year. But now I'm not convinced that he's not going to play, but I'm not as confident in that he's going to play as I was a month or 2 ago. So I'm thinking at a certain point, I need to get another tight end. And my number 1 target, we'll talk about later, but I haven't been able to pry the number 1 target from the other person. So I was looking at teams and thinking about this, and I saw this one team, Yorkshire Roses, and I said, oh my God, they have great tight. His tight end room is Darren Waller, Zach Ertz, and David Njoku. So basically, he's paying a lot of money to a tight end who may be his flex.
You said Zach Ertz was the first one?
Darren Waller's the first one.
Okay, I thought you
Zach
said Zach.
Ertz is
Zach
what I
Ertz.
would team his second wide tight end, and his third tight end is David Njoku.
Okay, okay.
He could get rid of Njoku because he's going to get that new contract, but right now, and I'm like, somebody in that tight end room is at best getting 25% of the points. So I'm like, okay, I could use that tight end and put it in my starting lineup, right? Like I could use that tight though. Like either Ertz or Waller should be in a starting lineup.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be sitting on a bench. And maybe they're his flex, maybe they're not, but so I'm like, he seems like he's got a strength there that I could, and I have a weakness, and I kind of make a deal with that. So what I did was I offered him, I said, I want the 1-2 and Ertz, and you could have my 1-3. So all you're doing is dropping back a spot, and I have CMC and Derrick Henry. I said you can choose which one of those guys you want. So I would take the 1-2. I would bump up one spot, take the 1-2, and get Ertz, and then he would have the 1-3 and his choice of either one of those running backs. It's sort of in this league, it's a little more of a salary cap question because does he want Henry or does he want CMC but pay him $3.5 million more, or do you rather have Henry, who's probably a slightly lesser back, and save that money? So my idea is that I don't want to offer him one and then he'd want the other. So I'll just say your choice.
Yeah.
Pick it. So
I definitely think he'll get that done. If what does his running backs look like? I guess I should ask first.
In my opinion, not very good.
So you're pretty sure he's going to take the guy you want at 1-2?
Yeah, I think he's going to he should take a running back at the 1-2. I mean, I don't think I see no reason why he wouldn't.
Okay.
Because you're going to get either Breece Hall or you're going to get Kenneth Walker. My guess, based on the league, is I think he'll get Kenneth Walker if he wants Kenneth Walker. Maybe he doesn't, and maybe Walker falls to me at the 1-3. But if I want Walker, my attitude is I'll just trade up and guarantee myself and not pray that he doesn't take Kenneth Walker because his running back room is I'm not going to. I mean, if I was his two starters right now are Travis Etienne and Devin Singletary.
Yeah, he's probably taking Walker.
Yes, I think he's taking Walker. Yeah. I would take Walker. Yeah. Now, if the other guy takes Walker, you take Breece Hall. I mean, if magically the person with the first pick didn't take either one of those guys, I would rescind this offer in like lickety split because I'll take Hall or Walker. You know what I mean? And I don't have to give up anything. I mean, but I don't know. It's kind of I was reading Matt's article about how like if he wants somebody, he's okay with overpaying. Yeah. And I feel like I am overpaying in this situation. But I also think that I would like to have one of those two running backs. And so if I trade to the 1-2, I guarantee myself one of the two of them, Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker. I guarantee myself one of the two of them. If I stay at the 1-3, I might get shut out. And then I'm kind of, and my running backs are CMC, Derrick Henry, and then like nothing behind it. I mean, like I have like Rex Burkhead, Matt Breida. Like, I mean, I've got guys that you don't want to start. Like at the beginning of the season, you don't want to start. Like halfway through the season, when things get hurt, when guys get hurt and things happen, you might be okay with starting those guys. But at this point, I don't want to start any of them. I mean, I've got Mark Ingram, Rex Burkhead. I got nothing behind them. I got nothing. I mean, so yeah. What do you? I mean.
It's just.
I think I'd take that. I'd take that deal if I was him personally.
Oh, I would too. For me, it's just tough getting rid of a CMC or Derrick Henry to only move up one spot. But then again, if that's the player you want, you got to get him. I completely understand it.
But my thing is like, I have both of them, and I like the idea. Last year they were my rocks, and I was going to go with them, and I'd be fine. But then after week 9, I had neither one of them.
Yeah,
and it was
that could happen again.
It was almost $30 million in salary tied up, and I had no running backs.
Yeah. See, the way I'm looking at it is you're wanting to win this year, obviously. So if you have, yeah. So I feel like CMC and a healthy CMC and Henry can definitely carry you to a championship. I'm not so sure a healthy Henry and Walker or a CMC and Walker could. You know, that's the way, kind of the way I'm looking at it with a win now mentality.
Yeah. But the other side of it is like, say Gronk retires and I totally misplayed that Gronk situation, right? Then if I make this deal, I have Walker, CMC, or Henry and Ertz, and versus having, um, CMC, Henry, and God knows who at tight end.
Yeah, that's true. I
You know what I
kind of
mean?
forgot you had Ertz
Like I
thrown
have a
in there.
nothing. If Gronk doesn't play, like there's guys available on our free agent auction in that league, but they all cost a lot and don't produce a lot. I mean,
So,
at that point, I have to trade for somebody else. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
I think what I would do, the first trade I would send is something like Waller and the 1-2 for, CMC or Henry, and then the 1-3. That way you can just see, just to try to get Waller. I like Waller way more than Ertz. If you
yeah,
like Ertz more, then you obviously do Ertz. But that, for me, I would start with Waller just because I feel he's more of a premier tight end, and then let
yeah,
him talk you down to be like, maybe tell him I'm willing to take Ertz if I have to, but I really like Waller. See what he said.
yeah.
That then make him feel like he's winning if he gives you Ertz, pretty much.
I almost posited it as like the 1-2 and like Waller or Ertz for, and I get
Okay,
the
yeah,
pick,
that
and then,
works.
but I didn't do that. I kind of just said Ertz because I'd rather have Waller, and I agree with you, but I think I'd be fine with Ertz. Actually, I like Ertz a lot in Arizona's offense because I think he's going to be very consistent. And
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I think you could put Zach Ertz in your dynasty on a starting lineup every week and be fine. Like I don't see him as a guy where you look at it and go, oh, maybe I start somebody else instead of him because of the matchup. I think you just kind of stick him in and like let him go unless he's hurt or terrible.
Yeah, and
You
with that
know,
Hopkins suspension, that's going to boost him a ton.
that too, yeah. So, but yeah, so that's why I like him because I just think he might like he'll have bad weeks, but I think a bad week for him is like 7 or 8 points.
Yeah.
Whereas like some tight ends, a bad week for them is like 1.5. They catch one pass for 5 yards.
Yeah.
Like Zach Ertz never catches one pass for 5 yards. He might catch like 3 passes for 36 yards, but he never throws down a 0-0 or like a 1-5 or anything like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. I agree.
that's kind of like why I like him a little bit. But I don't think Waller was going to throw down many zeros either. But like a Mike Gesicki throws down a 0 routinely. He does. He throws. I call it the Blutarski. He throws down a 0-0 2 or 3 times a year, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. I stay away from Mike Gesicki. I don't own him anywhere.
Yeah, but the thing is, like a lot of people like him because you look at him and you
Yeah.
go, oh well, he's the number 10 tight end, so he's a starter every week, and it's like he's not really actually. He's really like a starter certain weeks, and other weeks like you better pray that you guessed right and he's on your bench. Because otherwise he's giving you 0 one week, and then another week he's giving you 18 points, but you benched him.
Yeah.
So that's why that's why I'd rather have an Ertz
Yeah, that's fair.
and just kind of put him in there and let him go. And some weeks maybe he gets you 6.5, and other weeks he gets you 15. But like you're not having to fret. You're not having to like sweat the decision every week. I feel like so. We'll see. But the other offer, so I didn't make any formal offers. I put like ideas out there because I didn't want to make 2 offers and then both people want to take them. So I just kind of put ideas. The other offer is something I've tossed around with Dirty Hippie Farmer a little bit. I tried to get Noah Fant from him because he's either Andrews or Kelsey. I'd have to look up which one he has, but he doesn't like Noah Fant's not starting for him. He's just not starting for him. Whoever he has is way better than Noah Fant. Let me double check who it is. Oh, he's got Kyle Pitts. Sorry. Okay, so he's got Kyle Pitts. So obviously Noah Fant's his bench tight end, right?
And always will be with Kyle Pitts' age.
Precisely. It doesn't matter what happens. Like there's unlikely situations where Noah Fant's supplanting Kyle outside of injuries, supplanting Kyle Pitts as his tight end. But Noah Fant is this year maybe he's my bench tight end, but then the year after he's like the starter when Gronk retires, if Gronk plays. I just think he's better. And I like Noah Fant. I'm not giving up the farm for Noah Fant. But so I said, okay, I said I'm hoping to make a trade for Fant because, like, I played it up the same way. I'm kind of honest to a fault about these things. I said, I'm not sure if Gronk's going to retire. I think he's not going to retire, but I can't. I'm less sure about this than I was like months ago when I was trying to get Noah Fant from you. So, and basically said, I have 4 rookie picks if you have any interest in any of those picks. Like, I could give him like the 1-9, and he needs a backup quarterback because he has Josh Allen, and then he has Tyler Heineke, and then he has Trubisky. So obviously he's banking on Trubisky being the starter, and he doesn't have it. So, like, I could give him the 1-9, and maybe I get something else in addition to Fant, like a later pick or something. And then he could draft Pickett at the 1-9 in all likelihood. And then he's got a backup. He's got his bench quarterback, because right now he on his bench, he's starting a backup. He's starting a 0 effectively in that bench quarterback spot at this point. At least Kenny Pickett going to get you some points, most likely. Yep. And if Pickett doesn't suddenly start like he's not good enough and Trubisky's the starter, he's got both Steelers, so he's okay. I mean, you're paying $10 million for 2 spots, but you're still paying $10 million for the starter in Pittsburgh, unless catastrophe happens, right?
Yeah.
So I think the 1-3 is too much for Fant, and I don't think he'd do that to get Pickett. I think that's a waste, but I don't know. I just think that's a good idea. I was like, I'm kind of throwing out there. Here's my ideas. I'd like to get Fant. I don't want to do just Fant for the 1-9 because I think that's overpay.
Yeah.
But I do Fant for the 1-9, and maybe I get somebody else, or he takes a contract off my hands, or maybe I give him another pick and he gives me like a different pick, or something like that. But the nuts and bolts of the deal would be the 1-9 plus something for the 1-9 for Fant plus something.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I think so. Because I'm concerned. I'm concerned that Gronk's might not play, and then I'm screwed at tight end in this league.
I think
absolutely screwed.
I think Gronk just doesn't want to do training camp.
Oh, I'm sure he doesn't want to do training camp, but like, if you're me and it's not that I'm relying on Gronk. I have nobody else if Gronk doesn't play.
Yeah.
I mean, I get $8 million in salary cap room, but I could tell you the guys in the free agent auction in this league, and it's not. There's nobody there that I'm gonna like. I'm not getting Gronk points from any of these guys. Okay, I could take that $8 million and roll it into Logan Thomas.
That's where I would go. That's where I would go.
Yeah, but like, do I really want Logan Thomas as my number 1 starting tight end? Like it's not even like I have options. It's not even like I can say, oh, he's got a bad matchup, so I'll sit him. I'm not going to sit him for Donald Parham unless something happens, right? So, and the other guys are like, like Austin Hooper, CJ Azuma, like the Mo Alley Cox, who I got rid of. There's nobody available.
Yeah. The only one there I would trust would be Logan Thomas, just because Carson Wentz loves tight ends, and I like Logan Thomas. He's he started as a quarterback, so he's a late developer. He's a little older, but I think he can get you a solid. You can get a solid season or 2 out of him yet.
Yeah, but
But again, he's not going to put up Gronk numbers like you said.
Precisely, and it's sort of like, then I have to trade, and then I have to trade from a position of complete weakness, because all they got to do is look at my tight ends and go, he has Donald Parham and no other tight end. Yeah, I'm gonna take him to the cleaners on this trade, and they should.
Right.
They should. Why would you give me a good tight end for a garbage? Why would you give me a good tight end? Unless you extract a king's ransom from me, because I need one.
Yeah.
I have no other options there. If there was like a Pat Freiermuth out there for this year in the draft, I'd take him, because I have like the 1-9, but there's not. There's nobody who you're like,
No.
pick him up in the draft and you can put him in your lineup pretty consistently. I mean, I'm not asking for Kyle Pitts, but I mean, you kind of thought that Freiermuth would work in the Pittsburgh offense and had only Ebron ahead of him, and I think he's developed faster than you would have thought he would. But
yeah,
this was not like an out of nowhere,
right,
situation.
And everybody was saying he would have been a back end first round pick had Pitts not been in this draft. Just the glory of Pitts kind of dumbed down Freiermuth to start a little bit.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it was just, when you took him, you weren't thinking, oh, maybe he's a dart throw. Maybe he'll be good. You were pretty confident he was going to be good. It's just a question of when.
Yeah. If you compare him to like Trey McBride this year, I felt way more comfortable with Freiermuth last year than I do with Trey McBride this year.
Precisely. And that's kind of my point. It's like, I could take Trey McBride, but I mean, am I confident in that pick? Maybe. I mean, he's got Ertz in front of him, for crying out loud. I mean, he's got Zach Ertz in front of him. Freiermuth had Eric Ebron. It's a lot easier to no offense to Eric Ebron, but it's a lot easier. I think it was easier to supplant Eric Ebron than it's going to be to supplant Zach Ertz.
Especially Zach Ertz just got a little bit of a contract too. So exactly. So. Anyways, that's my conundrum in that league. So I made those I didn't make official offers. I made kind of feeling out email, Slack message, text. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I think I got to do something in that league though, because I mean, let me ask you this. We didn't discuss this beforehand, but I feel like the 1-3 is the worst pick to have in a dynasty owner draft this year. I guess it depends on who your league mates are, because I thought Walker was a lock for like the 1-2, but the more I've been seeing it, he's not going until about the 1-4 range as an ADP. Like I looked up sleepers ADP and all that, and he's more of a 1-3, 1-4 than 1-2. And once you get into drafting a receiver, I don't really hate any of the top 5 of them, so I don't mind where I'm at anywhere really there. So like I said, I guess it depends on the league. Like if you feel like Walker is going to go 1-2, then 1-3 is the worst spot to be picking for sure.
Yeah. And I guess that's what I think. I think that's what you do if you're in a dynasty league, unless you've got like great running backs and you really, really like one of those wide receivers. Yeah. But I just feel like at the 1-3, like I could be the 1-3 or I could be the 1-7, and I'm okay with whoever I get.
Yeah. That's fair.
I might not get the guy I really, really want at the 1-7 if somebody takes him ahead of me, but which I'm guaranteed if I have the 1-3. But like, I don't think it's not that bad of a replacement. And picking that many spots later, I could get something else.
Yeah, it's fun. Now that you mention it, I was before everything kind of crashed on us. I took Drake London in our writers league. And you're right. I'd be okay with Garrett Wilson or Jameson Williams or at the 5 or 6. I'd be perfectly happy with that. So yeah.
If somebody offered you for that 3 pick, if somebody said, Jay, I want that 3 pick, and I'll give you like a late second that I have like to move up like the 4, and I have the 1-7, and you can have the 1-7, and you can have the 2-11 that I happen to have. Like, but I want that 1-3. You take that deal.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, I might get the same wide receiver, or I'd get similar maybe wide receiver salary and everything like that. And then I get another pick that I might turn into something great.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're dying to have Drake London on your team for some reason, I don't know. I just feel like the 1-3 is the worst spot to have right now.
Yeah.
And in other leagues, I can see like non-dynasty owner, I can see people jump in and taking the 2 a wide receiver and things like that. But I just think in our league, Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker should be the 1-2. Just because of their contracts and because they have the potential to like walk in and be like in the starting lineup in the backfield, like week 1, play 1.
Yep. Yeah, I 100% agree with that one.
So, but we'll see. So if you're in one of my beta leagues or any of my leagues, you didn't hear any of this, I'm lying completely about that. I don't like either one. I don't like Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker. They both stink.
Yeah, stay away from them.
Exactly. Stay away from both of them, especially in my beta league. All you guys in the beta league, I'm lying here. Don't listen to me. And if you're listening, Yorkshire Roses, please let's make a trade. Let's make a trade. Come on, Danny. His name's Danny. I won't give his last name, but Danny. Come on, Danny, make a trade with me.
Help Steve out.
Actually, I've traded with him before. We've actually have a good trade relationship because we've made a couple of deals that went back and forth and stuff. So that's kind of what the other reason why I threw the offer out to him, because I like his tight ends, and I've traded successfully with him in the past. There's other people in other leagues where I could have seen great tight ends and say something, and they'd be like, oh, "Okay, I'll take your 1-3, and you can have Zach. You can have Zach Ertz for the 1-3." I'm like,
yeah,
no.
right.
No, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but we'll see. But the rebuilding league, we've already pushed this. In addition to the regular drafts being pushed back, that draft actually they pushed the rookie draft back a month automatically because we have 2 orphan teams in that one. Because I don't know who's not coming back, but I know and one of the experts in that league, as we supposedly call it, the website. I'm not going to say who it is because I refuse to. They're on their 3rd person running this team. It's like the blank website, and like they went from one guy to another guy, and that neither one of the first 2 guys did anything, like literally did anything, like even logged on. Now they're on a 3rd guy who supposedly is going to do this, but I'm at the point where I think the person's going to look at it and go, this is too hard for me. I can't do it. Like the first guy like pieced out at the beginning, didn't want to do it. The second guy made ridiculous trade offers like in Dynasty Owner that you were like, nobody's going to take this.
Right.
And then pieced out like shortly after everybody kind of told him that was too much. So I have no confidence that this 3rd person is going to work out. But in addition to this 3rd person, we have 2 other ones who are completely out. So we need to find new ones. So Tim just postponed. Tim's in that league too. He just postponed the draft so we could find a new an orphan to take over. And it's not like an orphan store thing because like nobody paid for these teams. So like, they just have to find somebody else to take them over. So,
yeah.
But then you don't want to make them take over and then like say, oh, by the way, you're taking over, and oh yeah, the draft starts now, and you have the 3rd pick.
Right.
So that's not fair. So that one. So my rebuilding, my rebuilding team, it's on pause. I'm hoping one of the 2 new owners likes Devin Singletary. We're on JNR video, and you can't see this, but my fingers are crossed. Both my fingers are crossed. Jake can see this. I hope one of the 2 new owners in that league likes Devin Singletary.
Yep. As long as they're not high on James Cook and they like him, you're good to go. Which I'm not all that high on James Cook. I'm really not. I'm going to take him just because if he's there and I don't like anybody else, I guess I'll take him, but I'm not. Everything I've seen on him, he falls down on first contact. Like he doesn't break tackles. He's fast, he's agile, he catches the ball well, but he's not one that's going to be a carrying the ball 20 times a game from what I've seen.
Yeah. Is he not? He's not his. So you're saying he's not his brother?
Yeah, correct. And I could be totally wrong on that, but
no, it's okay. I took him, in this non-dynasty owner league, the one I talked about, the Dallas Goedert trade earlier. I wanted to move up to the 1-2. I wanted to move up to the 1-2 because it went Breece Hall and then Kenneth Walker. And so I said, I got a ton of picks. I'm open to trades, but I need to move up. And then my buddy who's in this league, I said, I want your 1-2. What do you want for it? And he's like, no, I know I already know what I'm doing with that. So no, thank you. And he took Walker. And I said, after he did it, I was like, that's who I want. I wanted Walker. And he's like, yeah, me too. So sorry, I wasn't trading with you. And then it got down. And then by the 1-9, I took Cook with the 1-9.
Yeah, that's not a bad spot to grab him.
And the reason why, and I know what you say, but the problem is like that league, I used to have a great running back room. And then like they all got hurt last year. I had Derrick Henry hurt. I have Aaron Jones. Who knows if he's a starter technically? And Chris Carson, he could be gone. So like I needed to refresh on the running backs, which is why I wanted Walker. But then, the rest of them I feel like are kind of like hope and praise. They're not.
They really are.
Yeah, I mean, you're not starting James Cook week 1 in thinking that you're going to win anything.
Right.
I mean, maybe by week 10 you're starting him because like you're hanging on or whatever. But like, yeah, you're not running him out there on week 1 in your league and as one of your starting running backs and saying, "This is my title team."
No, not at all.
Title or bust for this team. We had a fun discussion in that league about tanking too. I was like,
yeah, I had a couple issues with that last year.
Yeah, we
not just on here either. It was on every platform I play on for the most part.
I think every platform has these issues, but the problem is that like we have some. I don't want to talk too much, but like we have some. If you want to hear this, they have like if you tank and you basically say I'm tanking, like if everybody knows you're tanking and they say you're tanking, you get a warning. Like, what's a warning?
Yeah.
Like what? Don't do it again. I mean, it's like I didn't use it, but what I wanted to say, this is like, have you ever seen Animal House, the movie Animal House?
Yeah.
You're younger than me, but I mean, it's like you're on double secret probation at that point. I mean, that's what it is. Like, what? It doesn't do anything. It's nothing. It's a warning. What good is? I mean, don't do it again, or I'll be forced to maybe do something. I mean, just like don't tank. If there's anti-tanking rules, don't tank. I mean, because somebody, they were like, everybody's like, oh, well, what happens if I can't get into my lineup one week and all this, or somebody switches out, and it's like that's fine. That's not tanking. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
Like you started somebody and then they got hurt and they got pulled and you didn't switch them in time. That's a mistake. It happens to everybody. But like starting a guy on bye and then somebody pointing it out and you saying to that guy, this is what happened. You saying, yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine. I don't want to start anybody else besides the guy on bye. You're trying not to win that week. Yeah. You are trying not to win. It's not an innocent mistake. The buys have been picked out months in advance. So like, there's no reason to be like, oh, I didn't realize that, so-and-so wasn't starting week 10. Yes, you did. He was on bye. He couldn't start unless he got traded to a different team. I mean, so, if somebody gets hurt, that's fine. But there was a whole discussion about this, and I was fed up. I was like, can we just agree not to tank?
Yeah, even on my like rebuilding teams, I'll still start the best players I have available that I haven't traded away,
I know. I know. And then somebody was like, well, what if I want to trade somebody away? There's a difference between trading somebody away to get a better pick for like the future and going in there and saying, I'm starting Drew Sample instead of Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I want to lose, because, you cannot with a straight face say, I think Drew Sample is going to score more fantasy points in a given week than Kyle Pitts, unless Kyle Pitts is in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
That's the only way that's going to possibly happen. And even then they'll probably tie. Right? I'm sorry. I got fired up about this.
Oh, that was funny.
It's true though, right?
It is. That's why it's funny.
I know. And that's the thing. I mean, like, people were trying to argue this. I'm like, if you want to make a trade that's like a dumb trade, make a dumb trade. Get rid of somebody and stuff like that. I don't care if you think it's a good trade. But, like, don't tell me that that's equivalent to starting a guy on bye and you being called out for it and you saying, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. You're just being a jerk at that point.
Yeah, you're just trying to lose at that point, and that's fine. If you want the number 1 draft pick as opposed to the number 2 draft pick, go right ahead, have it. I mean, maybe if it was 2 years, if you did that in 2020, you know what you would have done? You'd have drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire instead of Jonathan Taylor. How's that working out for you?
Yeah.
I mean. Anyways, this is along my this theory goes along my lines of like the picking, basically saying, oh, I can't wait because I'm going to take the number 1 quarterback in the 2023 draft and stuff like that. Like, and doing that in like 2021 because like you were eyeing Spencer Rattler, who is playing for the Gamecocks this year.
Yeah.
Or and got benched last season. So.
It's funny you bring that up.
Kind of stuff happens.
I started my first ever Devy League this draft
Oh,
this
did
past
you?
weekend. Yeah, so it's interesting. You know,
Okay.
my first college player I ever drafted was Marvin Harrison Jr. from the Buckeyes. I had to make sure it was a Buckeye, but it's interesting to say the least. I'll definitely stick with it. I like it, but it's going to take a lot of getting used to.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not in any of those. That sounds interesting. I got 3 letters for you. TVD.
What's that?
Tyler Van Dyke.
Oh, I got him already.
Oh, did you? Nice
That's
pick. He's really
hilarious.
good.
That's hilarious that you say that. Yeah, he was the best available quarterback. So I got him, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Ja'Cory Brooks are my 3 college players so far.
Okay. TVD is very good.
Is he? Okay. Well, good.
Yeah, Miami. I mean, we've been so terrible ever since I left college. We barely had a good quarterback. Well, actually, once Ken Dorsey left, we have had nobody. Our best quarterback of note since Ken Dorsey is Ryan Clement, and the only reason Ryan Clement is famous is because he was the first guy. He was the first guy to announce himself in the XFL. He was the first player to do like his own introduction when they did those in the XFL, the first XFL iteration. Yeah, he was the first guy to announce his team and all that stuff. So that was the highlight of his professional football career. And I could give you the names, but like there's no chance that everybody who listens to this is probably a real football fan, but unless you're a Miami fan or like a huge college football fan, you wouldn't recognize half of the names of the guys who have started at quarterback for Miami in the last few years. I mean, you know, they're not even backing up Johnny Manziel in the Fan Control Football League. That's how bad they all are. So I mean, seriously.
Hey, they had Tate Martell for a little bit.
Oh, Tate, Tate the Great, as he's called.
Yeah.
You know what they tried to do to Tate? You know what they tried to do with Tate the Great?
Didn't they put him at receiver or something like that?
They did.
Yeah.
They did, and then the Gadget played him one game. He did like nothing, and then he kind of quit, and then he went to UNLV.
Yeah, seeing that. I think he's done there now too.
Oh yeah, he was a backup at UNLV. Like I watched one game I tuned in, just happened randomly one game, and they talked about him and they showed him on the sidelines, and he was like relaying the plays in, and I'm like, wasn't this guy like the greatest college recruit, like high school recruit? And now like he's relaying plays into some dude I never heard of. He couldn't even take over at UNLV.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tate the Great. My buddy and I, we would text back and forth like when he like announced he was going to UNLV. He would text me the article and then stuff like that. So yeah, but I mean, those Devy leagues. Oh my God, that's what happens. You take one of those guys. You take like Tate Martell, and you think you're going to sit on a gold mine, and you got nothing.
Nothing happens. Yeah. They don't even make the NFL.
I don't know if Tate Martell's going to make the USFL.
No, he said. I seen a tweet from him actually not long ago. Said he's done with football completely and he's going to focus on business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably best for him, I guess, at this point.
But it's sad because he was everybody wanted him a couple of years ago. Everybody wanted him.
Yeah. It's crazy how much you can miss on a player like that. It blows my mind sometimes.
Yeah.
Like everybody thought this kid was the next best thing and everybody was wrong.
Well, one of the articles that you wrote one time, you mentioned that somebody was like the number one like college prospect at one point, and I couldn't believe it. Do you remember who that was that you talked about? That?
Oh, Ricky Seals-Jones, probably.
Exactly, Ricky Seals-Jones.
Yep.
I read that and I was like, "There's no way possible that this is true." And then I looked it up just because I was curious, and I was like, "Oh my God!" There's all these articles about how like every college wanted Ricky Seals-Jones.
Yeah, he was a massive prospect coming out. I don't know why it sticks out in my head so much, but I remember it like like my kid's birth, pretty much.
I wasn't assuming that you were wrong. I was shocked. I was just shocked by it. And I'm like, I gotta look this up. I gotta see if this is really like 100%. And I was looking up articles, and they were like saying how amazing he is and everything. And then he went to like Texas and did nothing.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
think Texas A&M, I think, is where he went. Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
just
Sorry.
completely flopped. I mean, I guess he did good enough to get in the NFL.
Yeah, but wasn't he like a receiver or something? And
Yeah.
then he moved to tight end. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, that's just
Yep.
crazy. That's just crazy. I mean, anyways, but yeah, so I mean, exactly. So you could be the net, you could be Trevor Lawrence, you know, and you could draft Trevor Lawrence and Debbie, or you could draft Tate Martell and Debbie. I mean, and
Yeah, and have no clue for the next 2 years.
yeah, yeah. So interesting. That's interesting. Those are yeah. That's beyond. I would be terrible in that. I would take like 3 Miami guys and because those are the only people I know.
Right.
The only people I know well enough, you know. Oh, or I'd have to take like one of the really good, like a player who's obvious, or like a Miami guy, because like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to pick a sleeper or a breakout guy or anything like that. But
Luckily, I found some good rankings to follow, you know, to go off of. So I'm going to pick them off of there and see how it goes.
yeah, well, did anybody take Spencer Rattler?
Yeah, somebody actually took him. All right. We're pretty deep into the draft now, but yeah, he's gone.
Okay, I was just curious. I was just wondering if somebody had taken him. So, how many college players do you get in that league?
As far as I know, it's unlimited. Not unlimited, but you have a roster of 38, and you can take you don't have to have any NFL players on your team. You can take all college kids if you want. You're just going to lose every game until they get to the NFL, because
Okay.
they don't get you any points till they hit the NFL.
Okay, so you could have 35 NFL guys and 3 college guys, or 8 college guys if you want to. Okay,
Yep.
interesting. Interesting. That's deep though, with 38 players.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess with the college kids in it, you probably only end up having about 20, 25 NFL players each.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess it's it depends how you play it, but yeah.
Yeah, at least it'll average out to about that, I'd figure. There's a couple teams that got quite a few college kids on there already.
Interesting. Very cool. All right. Well, we've gone longer than I thought, and you got a barbecue to go to, and I've got swimming to get to. So, anything else you want to talk about, or give everybody your Twitter handles so they know?
Nothing else to talk about, and Twitter is at JPoundsNFL.
And I'm at StevieT33. And this is Dynasty Owner, and they're at Dynasty_owner. Check us out on YouTube. Usually we do a live stream. May's been a hard month for various reasons for everybody, so we haven't done those. But hopefully June we pick back up and do a regular like Wednesday at 4:00. And Jay and I are going to do this, and hopefully those will be out like Friday morning, so y'all can listen to us on Friday, your commute to the office Friday morning, or as you're sipping coffee, looking at your email on Friday morning. That would be pretty cool if you did that. And thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Hopefully it wasn't too much of a ramble, but I think it was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, me too. Make sure you guys enjoy the weather and the cookouts and all that stuff for this Memorial Day, and stay safe.
Exactly. Yeah. Hopefully the weather's as good at your place as it is at mine.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Awesome. All right. Have a good one, Jay. Enjoy your cookout, and we'll talk to y'all later, Dynasty Owners. Bye.
See ya.